guess I'm gonna represent C.S Lewis. So we're gonna have 5 topics and kind of debate them about God and the existence of God and miracles. So the first one would be, what would you think about Adam and Eve? About the creation of man and woman, which man was created from dust, and God blew the breath of life into his nostrils, and then Eve was born or created out of Adam's rib.
How could you say a woman came from an Adam's rib or someone's rib? That's pretty ridiculous. And like, okay, the Adam and Eve, them going into the temptation, it was a talking snake, or not talking animals common to faith and to myth and fable. So couldn't you say the whole story is just in the myth itself, being that it was a talking snake? And instead of crucifying mankind, should it not have been the snakes that have been punished for the original sin? How could you explain as well also our present existence? If it was just them two that existed then, and when we look at all of us now, we're all here.
Either it could have been that when God created Adam and Eve, that as God is an omnipotent being, that when he created them, he created them with some supernatural statutes or rules in which if they mated and their children consequently mated with each other, that there will be no genetic dysfunction, in which as a form of incest. Or it could be that as a fable or as a parable, it's just more than anything to give us an idea of how man and woman came to be, not necessarily that they were created from dust and from a rib, but it's just to make it a lot more spiritual or a lot more romantic in a way, to explain that how we came to be, that not necessarily is just literally true, but it has been a way of how in that past time it was, how can you say this? That would be one of the interpretations of how it could have been as.
Well, could you not say that also your belief in God is like a collective neurosis? Like you and your religious peers are just longing for your father that was absent. And as you grew up, you discovered your earthly fathers were not able to give you the answers in life or protect you from the dangerous and cruel world. So you then created the concept of God by projecting it up to the sky as a sort of like superhuman figure. And therefore we know that what we think of as God is only an illusion or a projection growing out of a deeply held desire for an all-knowing and all-powerful benevolent Father who will take care of us.
It's a good question. The thing is that when it comes to God, I think I would say that it is not because a parental figure has not been with us, but that we have gotten to know this being, this supernatural being, because thanks to, for example, either miracles or past experiences in which we can come to the conclusion that this supernatural being exists, not because, once again, not because of the parental figure. I really do have nothing to say about that, but in my opinion, it could be either way. Either God can exist either because you do have your parents, and thanks to them, thanks to the love that they have given you, you can say they are an example of the love that a supernatural being like God can give me, but even deeper. They can give me the love right now, but God can give his love to me even deeper, either in the afterlife or consequently throughout my life, with or without my parents. That's what I would say. And then But from there, what would you say about how I was mentioning right now about miracles, in which there's somebody with a terminal disease, with some kind of cancer, and then let's say that after a month of praying and then also treatment, somehow by miracle, when they go back to the doctor says, by miracle, there's nothing wrong with you. You have no tumor or no more cancer cells or anything that can terminate your life, just how it would have been before with the disease. What would you say to a person who just got out of chemotherapy or without chemotherapy, and the person does not have that tumor in?
Okay, well, maybe during their treatment, they were maybe taking more nutrients that they were not before, or some other type of vitamins. So now that may be cured. You can't just say it was a miracle. Maybe it was just something that was absent prior to the cancer. But good for them that, yeah, they get cured and everything. But what about the people that do not get cured? What happens to them? Like, what if they prayed as well and did not get their answers prayer?
I think, since I do not have a concrete answer, I would say that maybe when it comes to those who had prayed and their prayers that have not been answered, I think that for those whose prayers did get answered, it's because there was a spiritual or supernatural predisposition in which, since their life had already been written down, let's say, or planned out by God, they were going to survive that cancer or that terminal disease, so that they could be able to, for example, I don't know, preach or give that example right now, how I was saying, about how they could have been cured or how they got cured and how God can do those wonderful things to other people.
Wonderful things, but why would God make them suffer in the first place? Like, or not only just cancer-wise, but when it comes to accidents, like car accidents or stuff like that, isn't God supposed to be with us at all times? Why is it that He allows these tragedies to happen?
I think that maybe, I do not know the concrete answer to that question, but I believe that maybe, just maybe, for those who have suffered that kind of situation in which, how you were saying, a car accident, that maybe it was part of God's plan, even though it sounds cheesy and cliche, that maybe it was part of God's plan in which that family or that person or whatever had no longer necessarily a purpose of being here on this earth, and they had to go back to the Creator, and then others live to be able to say and preach about how about the Creator.
Speaking of another tragedy, so like a man called Noah supposedly had no shipping building experience, and his 3 sons and their wives were going to help him build one for all the animals in the world. And during this time, of course, there was no schools or hospitals or such things that were built, but yet they also still had all these metal things to use for this boat. And there are no references to metal use at this point, or how metals came to be, but the maniac God comes then, who then floods the world and kills intentionally every man, woman, and child on the planet just to save 8 of them. Why does the same God have to tell us how to raise our children when He drowned his?
I believe that those children that you are referring to, who did get in fact drowned, is because those who did get drowned, they were not just or sane or spiritually healthy in a way that if they were to keep on living, that their seed was going to be corrupted, and that they will then, as a consequence, would contaminate the rest of the world. So He had to do some drastic measures into destroying those future generations from from putting at risk the future of the species as a whole. So maybe what he saw was that those 8 people, no one has family, that they were just, that they were some kind of pure, somehow pure, and the rest were contaminated. So he says, or he thought, in my opinion, that maybe he saw an opportunity of drowning, of course, the rest of that population to be able to save the future generations of Noah and his family.
So after God making all this happen, how could you say that God exists?
If in fact he did exist, then there's obviously no proper or no concrete evidence that can tell you this is why he exists. I cannot show you a picture or a video or anything of that nature. I think he exists, to be honest with you. I believe that he exists. I think that there is a supernatural being. I am not necessarily saying that it's the one from the Bible, but I think that that he may exist.
Well, I mean, I still believe that God was just made in humanity's own image and the ultimate wish fulfillment. Like, the way you cannot prove that God exists, like, that's basically how I feel. Like why I can't believe that God exists, because there's no evidence of such a being. Like, to me, it's just a mythical creature that you guys invented, like under the dragon.
Would you think maybe that though a skeptical person is afraid of accepting God because of the father figure that you maybe be afraid of a father figure finally, or consequently having some kind of authority over your life, since it has been absent before, maybe that kind of a father authority. What if you are afraid to finally accept that kind of authority over your life, or over your future, over your children's future?
And of course, if we just go back to my point of view, to your belief in God, as your father, you figured that was absent in your life.
Okay. Sound good?